Hopefully that works.
All right, and welcome back to Talk of Better Worlds. I am Captain America, and with me I have this channel's host, Hawk. How are you doing today, Hawk?
I'm great, Captain. How are you doing?
Not bad. As you know, we had a very special holiday this past week, and do you have any guess what that holiday was?
I don't know. Was it on the 4th maybe?
Yes, but what was that day? What was so
The
special about it?
Independence Day.
Is that all?
Well, I mean, we won. That's the most important part.
And is that all? Wait, and most important, I think you're forgetting something. That
What
was
am
the
I?
day I turned 106 years old.
That's right. I forgot about that. I'm sorry, Captain.
Yes, I am very offended by that. And you know what? For that, I'm going to leave. You can talk to these fine people by yourself.
Oh man. Oh, well, I mean, I didn't mean to offend Captain America. Oh man. Well, all right. I guess we're off to a good start here. I really didn't think I'd be, offending Captain America so much that he'd leave. But hey, it happens. Mistakes happen. Anyway, the 4th came and went, and here we are on the 6th. And today, I guess I want to talk about some news regarding gaming news regarding iPhone sales, AAA games on iPhones. I don't know if my screen is being shared at this point. If not, that's okay. We'll just roll with it. Look, someone came back. It's Sir Felix the cat.
Yeah, sorry, I was away trying to fix my internet, and I had Captain filling in for me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, where did he go? Did he run away or?
Yeah, he ran away crying. I don't know what you did, but yeah, he ran away crying.
He was crying.
Yeah.
Oh man, I didn't mean to hurt him that bad or anything. I didn't know it was his birthday.
All right.
Oh, can you see my screen?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, now the captain's gone and we have our regular host back. Let's get into AAA game sales on iPhones. It's been a pretty dead week for gaming news, at least as far as I know anyway. But this kind of came across the desk, and I thought it was pretty interesting that AAA games AAA game studios have been developing their games for both consoles, PC for the most part, and now iPhones in particular. I guess it was a big selling point that you could play, Assassin's Creed or Resident Evil on your iPhone. And like we discussed before the show here, the big question was why?
Well, I mean, we all have them, don't we?
Yeah, you all have phones, right? But and so it really comes down to why, and to no one's surprise, at least on this end of the gaming industry, it hasn't been doing very well. Games have not been, AAA games in particular, have not been selling very well on iPhones. This is from a website, mobilegamer.biz. I actually pulled this from the YouTuber Young Yeah, because I go to him for a lot of news for gaming and other stuff. He's a really good channel. But it looks like the demand for AAA games on mobile is significantly lower than these studios expected. You can see these charts here just breaking some things down. Cutting Edge comes at a relatively high price. It costs a lot of money to develop these games for iPhones. It costs a lot of money to develop these games, period. But getting them on a different console is always going to cost more money, and companies just aren't seeing any significant or really any returns at all, I'd say, on these.
Yeah, I mean, Nintendo is probably the only one. That's why they picked up like specific porting studios. They did the one who ported like Hogwarts Legacy and some others over to it.
Yeah. Well, like Nintendo's the only one that I don't know, have any other games, like big computer games or console games that have gone to phones, have they ever made money before?
Well, I mean, yeah, not console games. I think Assassin's Creed has done it the most. But that's probably it, really.
I'd have to look up the stats on it. I should have done this, but Rome Total War, the first Rome Total War game, was ported over to phones and tablets and stuff, and I think that sold at least kind of well for like a 10-plus-year-old game. I don't know, like 12, 15 years old at this point. And I think the port was apparently serviceable for phones, which is kind of surprising, having a Total War game on a phone. But the other one I could think of is Knights of the Old Republic, specifically 1.
Baldur's Gate might have done well too. 1 and 2.
Yeah, I played Baldur's Gate 1. Like because I mentioned in the last video that I did that I played it when I was a kid on PC, but I was too young and dumb to know what I was doing. But then I really played it to completion on my tablet, so that is another good one.
Yeah, there was actually a game that I was looking at for a video. My Time at Portia, or Portia, whatever you want to call it.
Portia, yeah.
Well, I guess the NPCs say it both ways. There's a couple that say Portia, and there's other ones that say Portia. So it's your guess. People say it's because the studio didn't pay the voice actors enough or give them much guidance on what to say, so they just freeballed it.
I could see that.
But I was seeing it compared iPhone to Switch, and Switch has a good draw distance, but there's no actual grass. It's just a flat ground. No grass sticking up or anything. And water looks great. And then if you look at the iPhone, it has grass, but its draw distance is junk. Everything in the distance looks like it's a Nintendo 64, and the water just looks terrible.
Speaking of water, I've been thinking about what you said about doing a list of the best water in video games. That'd be a very good list video, actually. I've been thinking about, like, that's been in the back of my head while working on other stuff. Like, I'm thinking, what games have the best water? So I'm putting Waterworld. I'm putting a preliminary list together, like, at least in my head, to try and figure that out. But yeah, I mean, Portia or Portia or whatever you want to call it, you choose. I played it on PC. My wife actually beat the first one, because there's Portia and then there's Sandrock. She beat the first one on PC. I've played it on PC. It's a really good game, but I cannot see it running well on phones in particular, because it had some optimization issues, at least on PC.
Apparently it doesn't run well on Switch. I didn't encounter this, but I read that there's just a ton of bugs. And this is around the same time that I started playing it, that people were saying that on Reddit, that it's just a terrible port and all this other stuff. But, I think I had one crash. Oh, I gotta look at comments. Oh, man. Oh, we do have comments. Okay, I'm just totally missing them. So, hey, what's up, Gwen? What's up, David? And yes, everything does cost a lot. And you should definitely cover Subnautica, because I'm not going to touch that game.
Oh yeah, I will brave the depths and the terror that is Subnautica.
The scariest game ever made.
Oh man,
I will take PT.
I'll take literally anything over. Like, I've played games before where I've literally needed to take a break for, like, my heart. Like, you have to get up and, like, breathe a little bit. What's it called? There's that one when you're in the asylum and you have no weapons or anything. You use a camera with, like, night vision to go through the asylum.
Is this related to that new one where you have, like, the crank up flashlight?
No, it's a different series. I know the one you're talking about too. That one's terrifying though. That World War One.
Yeah, is it? I was gonna say Demented, but that's not it.
What's it called, man?
Who knows?
I can't think of anything lately. So yeah, the scaries, the scary games. But I will play anything over Subnautica again in terms of fear. Like that, I have thalassophobia. And I didn't even realize I had thalassophobia until I got kind of deep into Subnautica. But yeah, okay. No, it's am I still sharing my screen?
Oh no, I took yours off. Did you want me to keep it?
No, it's okay.
Right.
Yeah, but basically, so
I
iPhone.
had some news I wanted to show too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, go on. iPhone.
Oh no, iPhone, AAA iPhone. I mean, iPhones suck. Shots fired. But iPhone AAA game sales also suck. So that's the news.
Yeah. And then I got news that is not video games, but there's one that's real world news, which I thought was pretty epic. And then the other one is comic book news. So let's see. Share entire screen. I can see myself. Hope you can. Let's go to news. All right. So the real world news. France's Excalibur sword vanishes from stone after 100 or 1,300 years.
What?
So I don't know if you're familiar with this sword. I've heard of it. It's been called before the sword of what's his name?
Arthur?
Rando, not Rando.
Rando.
But yeah, it's the Durandal. And here's the crazy thing.
Durandal, yeah.
So it's in this French town. And the sword could be found stuck in a sheer rock wall about 100 feet off the ground.
Jeez. And it's gone?
Yeah, it just vanished. I didn't finish reading. Roland. There we go. I knew it was an artist.
Oh, yeah, Durandal with Roland. Yeah, it's a legendary sword.
Yeah. Yeah, it went missing.
I mean, I bet you it was some ne'er-do-well. Let's say that to be PC.
Yeah.
Some ne'er-do-well.
Yeah, it's crazy that it disappeared. You know, that's on the black market, and it's going to be making just billions of dollars.
Oh yeah, that's worth X money. Like that's just like, and I don't mean like the website. I mean just like think of a number. That's what it's worth.
Let's go to the next news. So here we go. Here's something for you.
Ooh.
I don't know if you can see my screen still.
I can, yeah.
Hulk versus Godzilla finally clash, and I wanted to show you this. Oh God, stop doing that. This variant cover, because that's how strong this guy is.
What?
Yes, do not underestimate Hulk. I really want to see this one. There's also another comic line going on right now where Venom and Godzilla fuse. So it's Venomzilla.
Oh,
yeah, I saw that one the other day and I forgot about it.
That's awesome. Oh yeah, because I did not understand the strength of the Hulk. Because again, every time we have to bring up Marvel, and I also have to bring up that Marvel is not my forte.
Yeah,
but
this is what the two of them are going to have to team up and fight.
Oh Lord, what
and
is
you can
that?
see
Some
the outline
demon?
of Hulk right there. So it's about the same size as Godzilla, essentially.
What is that thing?
It is. Oh, it has a name. Mother of Horrors.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think, unless I just read that wrong.
I mean, it sounds right. It looks right.
Yeah, helping the Green Goliath obliterate the Mother of Horrors.
Now, can it mess with their minds?
I don't really know what it can do. I've never heard of it before I started looking at this. I haven't read a comic or a Hulk comic in years. Yeah, it's been a long time.
Horror.
Yeah.
Horror, not horrors.
Horrors.
Yeah. The mother of
the next
horrors.
one. Here's some bad news. So Arkham Asylum series was canceled at Max.
Nah, it's not surprising.
That is sad. That has people wondering what's going to be happening to the second Batman movie, the one with Robert Pattinson, because people started freaking out when Gotham got canceled.
Yeah,
and Gotham was a hit show. It was doing pretty well, I thought. It's interesting. It was a nice take. So you don't have a superhero in it. You're watching what's his name, Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was something I was looking forward to. That would have been dope.
Considering what's happened with the studio and the IP and the last game that came out with Batman and DC and all this stuff, like I'm not surprised this is happening at this point. It is sad. It sucks because Batman is pretty cool, but it's just, I guess it's a victim of the bad decisions that have come before it.
Yep. And then there's another cancellation, which is sad to see too. Get off my screen. Netflix canceled the Horizon Zero Dawn prequel series.
Oh man.
Yep, but this is for a more worrisome reason. So the guy behind it, who does like the Umbrella Academy and stuff like that, he was reported to HR. He has a long history of toxic bullying, manipulative, and retaliatory behavior. So a great guy.
Yeah, just another great guy working behind the scenes.
Yep.
God,
which is sad.
It always happens.
Yep. Always.
That's sad. That's all sad.
Yeah.
I hope that sword pops back up.
Yeah. Well, it's going to pop up. It's just going to be in someone's house. Like Musk is going to have it or something.
Oh, well, then we need to get like Interpol on him or something, because that thing deserves to go back into its place or in a museum. It belongs in a museum.
Yeah. Or at least back on that wall, because that was like that whole town's like, that's why people went to that town, was to see it.
Yeah. Yeah, like just put it back in the hole in the wall, you know?
Yep.
That sucks.
Yep. So no more tourism.
No more tourism. Sorry.
Yep.
We
But
lost
anyways,
our magic sword.
let's talk about today's topic. Today, we are not talking about news. We are talking about 4th of July, because that was a thing that happened, and Captain America's birthday, which is the more important thing. I hope everybody acknowledged that before I got on here today. But yeah, it was the American Revolution. It was a crazy battle, and as you see, Captain America right there was in it. You just never heard that part.
Yeah, well, they had to keep it secret.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
for revolutions, are there any that stand out to you besides the American Revolution, or is there something about the American Revolution that you like besides, the ocean being turned into tea from the Tea Party?
Yeah, aside from the Tea Party, which is dope, I've got to say, like, in terms of the American Revolution, I mean, because I am an American, I think I'm pretty interested in it. It's I like that there's a lot of stuff that people don't know about the American Revolution, and like you get taught kind of a glossed over, washed down history of it in school, and if you look deeper into it, there's a lot of facets that are really, really cool, like how it's not official, but basically the way I see it is there were two wars that were fought in the American Revolution. There was the Northern War and the Southern War. And you hear mostly about the Northern War, but the Southern War was effectively a guerrilla war. And stuff got crazy at that point. But then there's also why the founding fathers did what they did. And there's the whole ideology of, want to make a free country and no taxation without representation and yada da, which was the selling point. But it goes a little bit deeper than that. And it turns out that they weren't so different from the people that they were trying to break off from in a lot of ways, I'd say.
Yeah. Absolutely.
What
My
about
favorite
you?
thing is that we teamed up with the French, and I thought that was pretty awesome. That was like our first time of being allies and actually working together.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was pretty awesome. We only won because of them, really.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Well, we only won because of them and because England was too busy fighting a bunch of other people, too. Like,
Yeah.
If England really wanted to, they could have won that war, hands down.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you play Assassin's Creed 3, which is pure fact, there's none of it that's made up. We won because of Connor.
Well, yeah. Yeah, I mean, Connor was instrumental in winning the war against the British,
Yeah, I mean, I remember using Connor to kill just hundreds of them for no reason.
Thousands, even.
Yeah. That stupid long battle where you're like directing everybody to shoot, and that was just forever long.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, dude. I did not like that. But no, I mean, there's. Can you think of any other revolutions that you think are interesting or anything?
The French Revolution, which people have mixed takes on. It could be taken as an actual revolution, or it was just some people like in the top class basically just feuding with each other, and that's really all it was. It depends on who you ask to see that. The Britannic actually did a pretty good breakdown on that. That was one thing I was looking up earlier.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the French Revolution, I think, because it happened so close to the American Revolution, it was partially inspired by our revolution, I'd say. They call it like the Age of Revolutions. But I find it really interesting. I do like the whole idea of throwing off the elite class and a totally disaffected and out of touch ruling class that doesn't even know its own people are trying to spill their blood effectively.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure that a lot of nobles and French, like the higher up French people at the time, had just no idea how people thought about them until they were being marched up to the guillotines effectively.
Yep. Yep. Louis the whatever, he was kind of caught off guard there.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, and there's tons of revolutions all over the world at different times. Like, look at Mexico. Mexico has had an insane amount of revolutions over its history. before it was an official state. And, even after it became a state, there's been a ton of revolutions there. A lot of them are really interesting, but yeah, it's a revolution. I think it's a pertinent topic because of the holiday, and it just feels like there's some revolutionary vibes in the air at this point.
Yeah. There's been a lot of talk about it in different ways.
A lot of different ways, actually.
Yeah, like there was a whole thing where some guy decided to come out and say something about, unless one side does something, there will be blood. That was interesting.
Yeah, it will remain bloodless as long as we obey.
Yep.
Yeah, but
what about any fictional revolutions?
Oh, I mean, there's so many. The two that pop into my head, we talked about this before, is Red Faction. Just add all the Red Faction games. Awesome games. And then in terms of gaming anyway, what's it called? Freedom Fighters. The game Freedom Fighters, which it's a revolution. Yeah, because Russia takes over the United States and you're part of the revolutionary forces to take it back. And then for movies, there's a ton. But what about you?
I have a lot of games. There's a movie and a comic book that I like that's about it. V for Vendetta.
Oh, yeah.
And then any teen novel series is revolutionary too.
That's true. Hunger Games.
Yeah, what is that? What was that stupid one? There was a movie made for it. Besides Hunger Games. That one's actually kind of entertaining for the movies.
Yeah.
Oh, the Mortal Engines or whatever.
Oh, yeah. We talked about that recently.
Yeah, because I watched the movie not that long ago, and because it had a guy from the show Misfits that was on BBC a while back. That was fantastic. But that was an interesting revolution. The movie's weird, falls kind of flat, but that's some cool graphics.
Yeah, it's got that.
It was a story.
It was a movie.
But for games, there's a lot. There's a lot of Final Fantasy games, like 2, 9, 7, 8, 12. I think 6. I could be wrong there. Yeah. There's a ton of Final Fantasies that do it. There's an old game for the Sega Genesis that I used to play, Shining Force. That one, the Runefaust army comes in, takes over. Oh, what's the name of your place? The Kingdom of Gardenia or something like that. But they basically come in, wipe it out, and your goal is basically to take it back. So you're going to start the Shining Force. So you're going to go around, gather a bunch of people, kind of like the Suikoden games or Suikoden, however you are supposed to pronounce that, which is another Revolution game, at least 1 and 2. I don't know about the rest of them after that. Yeah. And then the newest one, Eiyuden Chronicles, which is made by the same people.
Is that good?
Oh, yeah, it's fantastic. The Switch, again, is not the best port. It's frozen on me a few times, crashed, but really no like frame rate dips or anything. It plays well besides that.
Well, that's good.
And they've been patching it. It was just sad because that might be the last one, because the guy who made it I think it was right before the game was going to release, he passed away.
Oh, man.
Yeah. He was another one of those. Like, we had Toriyama, we had one of the art guys from the Tales of series, and then he passed.
Yeah, they all hit at once.
Yep. Sad time.
So why do you think revolutions generally happen? Obviously, like, each revolutionary movement has its own focal points effectively, but broadly speaking, why do you think revolutions tend to happen?
See, every time I've looked at one, there tends to be like a true evil side. Like, say, if Germany fought back against the Nazis, like the people of Germany fought back against the Nazis, that would be a good picture of a revolution. They're fighting against the evil power. That's kind of what we did here. Monarchies are inherently evil. We shouldn't have a god king or anything like that. So we fought against that, like our founding fathers, given they had greed in their part as well. But as we are taught, they fought back against the evil.
Yeah. Yeah. I
And
think,
I mean, evil is a topic that's hard to get into. It's a very vague topic because everybody has their own opinion of evil, but common sense would tell you something bad is evil. Like killing people for no reason, that's inherently evil.
yeah. I mean, it comes down to like, to get into like evil, it comes down to morality, and morality. A lot of people have a lot of things that they think cause morality, but ultimately, at the end of the day, we are social creatures.
Yeah.
So, in order to function as social creatures, we have to treat each other at least fairly well.
Yeah.
So that's why we feel like, I mean, unless you're brain broken, you don't want to kill people. You don't want to like hurt people, generally speaking. People who do are divergent and usually ostracized from the greater tribe, being the
Yep.
rest of humanity. So we're incentivized by our own evolution, effectively, to not hurt each other and to not screw each other over and to work with each other. But
Yep.
when a regime does fly in the face of that, and when people start to notice a regime that is uh, demonstrably generally seen as bad, yeah, they tend to throw revolutions. There was I think a British guy. He's a scholar, philosopher, study dude. He's a smart guy. He's a smart dude who knows things. Um, and he basically wrote a book. He wrote a book about why revolutions happen, and it goes really in depth. But there were 10 points that he went over, and I want to see if you see these parallels as well. The first one was people of all social classes aren't happy. I think that's pretty apparent. And we saw that in the 1700s with having taxation without representation with
Yep.
our people, where you had a group of uh, powdered wig wearing, you know, psychopaths across the ocean making laws for us without anyone from our side able to say anything about it. And you see that theme a lot in revolutions. You could see that theme in a lot of places today.
Yeah.
That's a whole bag. But number two would be that people, what is it? Hold on. People feel restless and held down by restrictions. So, for example, poverty is a restriction. If you don't have a lot of money, you can't really move anywhere. You can't do anything. You can't get what you want. You feel restricted in your life. And I think that's pretty apparent.
Yeah, like money. It's sad to say that since because of capitalism, in order to do something fun, it usually takes money.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like like I went to a lake today, and it didn't cost me anything to get into the lake, but I had to drive for like 70 something miles, so that takes gas.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, everything takes money, and this is my opinion. I could be wrong, but I truly believe that the people who say money does not buy happiness have too much money.
Yeah,
because it does. It absolutely does buy you happiness, at least at this point.
yeah. Well, we've talked about that before, where people have too much and they get bored and they start looking for more, bad things to do.
Insane things to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
Epstein-esque
they're
things.
doing something crazy, like renting out a plane so they can like go diving from above the clouds, like that's whatever. But when they get into like the owning an island and doing things illegal on that island, not to mention any Epstein names or anything.
Yeah, Epstein. That guy. Sorry, I got a cough. Yeah, like that. Yeah, no, that it happens. It absolutely happens. You get too much money, you lose connection, you wind up. What do you do when you have everything? You know what I mean?
You get bored,
and that you get bored, and you gotta have the things that society tells you can't have. But so that's number two: is people feel restless and held down by restrictions, and that could also be applied to like second-class citizens and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or let's say, for a parallel in America, based off of studies, if you have a name that does not sound conventionally white and you put that name on a resume, you could have a hard time getting a job. That's a restriction. That's a real restriction. And that makes people feel held down. Number three are people are hopeful, but are being forced to accept less than they hoped for. And they have to be hopeful because without hope, they just take it. Like, look at North Korea.
Mhm.
They just take it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just sad.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's because they have no hope at this point.
Yep.
But look at America in the 1700s. We were being forced to accept less than we had hoped for with representation, with just general laws, with being forced to house British soldiers and stuff like that. There were laws that we had to give these people houses or let them live with us. Like, I imagine if a soldier from another country came in and just demanded to live with you and you couldn't do anything about it. But we had hope that we could fight and make it better. So we wound up having our revolution. You have to have that hope.
Yep.
But then there's people begin to number 4, people begin to identify with a social class, and different social classes grow apart. Example, the 1% and us.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you could see it. That's been happening a lot more these days.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I don't know what the social class identification would have been in the American Revolution. Not all of these have to happen for a revolution, but there probably was some kind of social class back then that people identified with.
Yeah, I mean, I would assume the British were like the first class, no matter what, no matter how much they had, they were above you. It's kind of like back in the Civil War, like before the Civil War, during whatever you want to call it. So we're people, and people of color are people, but yet no matter what, they were always below white people. And that's just, it's pretty much the same thing. Like you can almost look at when a person of color joined the Yankees to fight in the Civil War, that's kind of their revolution.
Yeah. Yeah. Along with like actual revolutions that a lot of slaves had in the South.
Yeah.
They picked up guns and they fought.
Yep.
And that's also because they had hope. They saw the North. They saw other countries abolishing slavery and stuff. Not that the North was really great, mind you, but
yeah.
it was better than the South.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think today you have the social classes of the 99% and the 1% that really kicked off with Occupy Wall Street, if I remember right.
Yep.
That idea.
But then you have a good
a
idea, and then it just went south.
Yeah, it just
a lot of good ideas have.
Like, why?
Great, and then just goes down.
You just, at first you ask somebody, why are you protesting? We're protesting against the 1%. Like 3 months into it, why are you protesting? I don't know. I play drums and get high.
Yeah. I'm here for the meth.
I'm here for the meth. So that kind of just went to hell. But number 6 is the scholars and intellectuals give up on the way their society operates. Now, this one I had to think a little bit about. Can you think of any examples of that happening, let's say today, or even back in the 1700s?
Let's talk about my school district here and how they are literally graduating people who can't read, like legitimately cannot read. Here's your diploma from high school.
Yeah. Yeah, you're seeing that everywhere at this point with illiteracy.
Yep. They don't teach them how to read. If they're like for a 5th grader, if they are reading a book, which is rare, they come across a word they don't know, they're told, just skip it and move on. Don't ask, don't look it up, just skip it and move on.
Yeah. And some individual schools are worse than others, just because of their own individual policies. I think, like we've talked about this a number of times, the overarching problem is standardized testing and education, state standardized education, which is horrific. It messed us up. It messes our kids up. Like it's 3 generations now that it's messed up.
Yeah.
And counting. But then some individual schools are just worse for their own individual reasons too. Gwen says about all the restrictions that are showing up in a lot of states, like reading restrictions and stuff like that, or
book bans.
Yeah, book bans. Different like weird obtuse laws on weird stuff, or forcing the Bible into schools. That just happened recently.
Oh yeah, the 10 Commandments have to be in every classroom. What state was that in?
I think it was like Kentucky or something.
Yeah.
Tennessee.
Oh, Tennessee is a whole bag of worms. Because I watch Jesse Dollimore, and he was out the other week, and someone was filling in for him, and the guy went over the big white power movement going on in Tennessee, where they're just allowed to throw like these big, essentially parades in these towns, and nobody does anything about it, and they have the right to basically harass people who are not white.
Yeah, now like rights get hairy. Like, so they have the right to demonstrate. Absolutely.
Yeah.
They have the right to. They have the right to do a parade. They have the right to be as stupid as they want. That's fine. But they don't have the right to harass people.
Yep.
Or to subjugate, like to detain people or subjugate them to that kind of treatment. That they don't have the right to do.
But this is the same state that two of the people sitting in there, the Tennessee House, whatever you want to call it, are the two black members were kicked out. And like, I think they were kicked out of the whole thing. They weren't allowed back in the office, and they had to fight it.
Oh, I heard about that. Yeah, I remember that. That's wild, dude.
Yep.
I laugh just because of how insane this stuff has gotten. But yeah, so, and also for scholars giving up, like you see a lot of people who, like, are smart. Like, for instance, okay, and hear me out. I'm going to preface this with saying that I detest this man. I hate him. Okay. I do not agree with anything he says. And at this point, because he used to say some smart stuff, and I think he should stop talking, but he is intelligent. Bill Maher. Okay.
Yeah.
Bill Maher.
He gets some zingers in that are like on the right side, and then he goes nuts.
Well, and like, you remember Religulous, his documentary that he did back in the day?
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
Like, he was good.
Yeah.
But the Overton window has moved very far right, and he has moved with it. And he said a lot of dumb stuff, and that's where I'll leave that. But he is smart. He is actually smart. But he's disconnected, and he's given up on the way society operates. It's one example of many when you look at like schooling or even individual people that this is happening. We're watching it happen right now, real time. But number 7 is the government does not respond to the needs of its society. I think that is pretty cut and dry for both the 1700s and anything you could see today.
Yeah. Yep.
So that one's pretty simple.
Healthcare would be nice.
Oh yeah, healthcare, please. That would
like Canada, the UK, like England, which we overthrew. They have healthcare.
I mean, I think I saw something like even some countries in the Middle East, like countries you wouldn't even think would have stuff like this. They have it. They have better treatment for their workers. They're better. They're pro-union. They have better healthcare, or they have socialized healthcare and stuff like this. Every country in Europe, every country in most countries in NATO, and then a lot of countries even in the East have socialized healthcare. Now, is it great? Like England's healthcare is not good. It's not.
Yeah.
Canada's healthcare is not really good, but it's better than ours.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's at least it's there for the basics when you need it. Yeah. If you lose a leg, they will help you.
Yeah. And you don't have to walk away with $1 million in debt.
Yeah, here you're going to be like bleeding out. They're going to be like, well, do you have insurance? Can you afford this?
If you don't have the insurance, it's like Cyberpunk, man.
Yeah.
Like they're going to come down and be like, oh, he doesn't have the premium plan. Let him die. But so that one's pretty self-explanatory. Number 8 is the leaders of the government and ruling class begin to doubt themselves. This is another one I had to think on a little bit. What do you take from that?
I mean, they begin to doubt themselves. I mean, in modern times, I can't see that. Like let's look at our political race right now. One said he's not going to step down, even though people were crying out for it. And the other one thinks that he's God's gift to mankind.
Yeah.
Even though people have pointed out things he did wrong.
Yeah.
I don't see that for us. Maybe for back in the day, a king might have been like, I guess my people aren't too happy with me. I wonder if I'm doing the right things. But I figure that would kind of make you be like, oh, I should probably change my ways.
Yeah. Yeah. This one, I didn't quite understand. And like I said, it's not like everything on this list has to happen for a revolution to happen. Yeah. But that one, I don't think it applies to today. I think we would do well if our leaders doubted themselves a little more with some things. But so yeah, that's number 8. Number 9 is the government is unable to get support from any group to save itself. So for this one, I kind of interpret that as, let's look at the revolution, the American Revolution, because you can't just say the revolution. I mean, we assume it's America, but other people exist. I know it sucks, but other people exist. Other countries exist. So with England, they could not get the financial or military support from their allies or anyone around them to preserve their claim on the United States, or, well, the colonies at that point. That's how I interpret that.
Yeah.
What else? It can't save itself. I think that's going to be applicable to us in time too, actually. As we just piss off all of our allies, and that's a whole bag. The number 10, the government is, and this one's the best in my opinion. This should be number 1. The government is bankrupt and cannot organize finances correctly, increasing taxes to an unmanageable level on its citizens.
Yeah. Well, that one's going to get in some pretty big topics here too. I mean, we give tax breaks to the rich, but yeah, the people who would bail us out of this issue, but it's okay.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
Everything's fine, man. This is good.
I mean, if you just look at it this way, it'll just trickle down.
It's going to trickle on down. It's just going to trickle down. I mean, look, we give all the money to the people at the top, and then that money will just trickle on down. They won't pocket it. No. Yeah. You got to trust the system, man.
Yeah, thinking about joining this pyramid scheme, it seemed like a brilliant idea.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, you work your way up to the point at the top,
Yeah.
No, but that one's pretty self-explanatory. And like, to apply it to the 1700s, I mean, they were being taxed, no taxation without representation. They were having to pay a bunch of taxes for stuff they weren't even using. And now I want to talk to a British person someday about that, because I've heard some British people have like some pretty strong opinions on that specific point for the revolution, that Americans were paying for the protection of England. Okay, we were paying for the greater cause, effectively, but we were too narrow-minded to want to continue paying for that. That's how they seem to think about it.
Yeah, I mean that's true too. If things would have been different in the 1920s, we would have kept paying protection money to the mobsters because they would have protected us. Like, obviously, it's the best thing to do because accidents could happen. Something might befall your little store here. Something might break, or somebody might get hurt. Kneecaps might just go out. People are old. This place burned down.
That's how I interpret it. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm America brained, but like that's how I see it. So, but yeah, that's the list 1 through 10 of what generally leads to a revolution. That guy went on. I wish I wrote down the name of the book, but I didn't read the whole book. I just like skimmed over some parts of it online. But yeah, and this was written, I think, in like the 40s or 50s too. So I'm sure that could use an update, like with the ones leaders doubting themselves.
Yeah. All right. So before we get into this wonderful movie we watched, what would you say is the best fictional Revolutionary War? Or what's your favorite?
My favorite. I mean, I don't want to say Star Wars. I don't. Let me think about that. What's your favorite?
Rebel Moon. I am so excited. We are. I think those movies released this month, if I'm not mistaken. The adult versions of them. I don't know if I want to say adult. That sounds bad, but the R-rated ones.
Yeah, R-rated.
The Snyder cuts.
The 15-hour Snyder cuts.
Yeah, that's why I have 15. They're both going to be like 3 hours long.
I mean, this is hard, man, to pick. I suck with favorites. I'm not good at picking favorites, but I mean, I guess I'd probably say Red Faction, just because like I played it when I was a little kid, the first one, and then I played them through the rest of my life, and they always kind of really, well, I should say Red Faction 1 and Guerrilla. 2, I don't care or count about that. But they kind of always really resonated with me. I think the revolutionary idea, the idea of questioning the people above you, kind of was planted in my mind with Red Faction, I think. Specifically Red Faction 1. So that's probably my pick.
Not bad. Guerrilla is a great game. I just love tearing down buildings with a hammer.
Oh, it's so fun.
Topple a whole building with just one sledgehammer.
Yeah. It's a super sledge.
Well, it's like there was what cartoon was it? There was some cartoon back in the day where there was like the cornerstone of the building, and the guy was just like, oh yeah, take down any building. You just got to hit this one stone. And so he takes it, whacks it with a small little hammer, and the whole building just collapses.
Yeah, and the people watching that cartoon later developed Red Faction Guerrilla.
Yeah, probably. I wouldn't be surprised.
No, it's a great game.
So let's talk about this wonderful movie we watched, which I picked out thinking it was like going to be about some sort of like revolution building up, and then we're going to see like some action and some crazy stuff going on. Even though it said it was a drama, I was expecting something. But we watched a movie that goes by two names. The first one is that, at least I found it by, was American Martyr, but it's also known as what I say it was, regarding the case of Joan of Arc.
Yeah. Yep.
And so let's hear your thoughts on it.
Oh.
Best movie ever, right? Well, before you go, you're gonna like this. I was reading a review on it after I watched it, and the first thing this guy said is, when I watched that the first time, I was so blown away that I had to watch it again. And it was a masterpiece of filmmaking, and so go ahead.
Someone's got to get that guy's head checked. That's my public opinion. So I think, and I try not to exaggerate with like movie reviews or game reviews or anything like that. And I don't think I am exaggerating when I say that was the absolute worst movie I've ever watched in my entire life. It was creepy, and not in like a cool boo kind of creepy way. Like just creepy, like sex pest kind of creepy way at some points. It was boring. It was so boring because it was just stupid talking in a courtroom and a cell that's supposed to be Guantanamo Bay, but looks nothing like Guantanamo Bay.
Once I said Guantanamo, I was like, really? That's where we're at?
Like, that's what we're going with? Okay. And like I said to you before, off the air and everything, it's the way these people talk in the movie sounds like English is their fourth language. There's no like there or we're or let's or anything like that. It's all like they will and we do and they do and going to, and it's stilted and it's stiff and it's so boring. And there was one scene in particular where like the guy and that chick, the like head military guy, and this one like, I don't know, lawyer chick or something, you see her for like 5 minutes, they start just talking to each other like it's a business meeting, and they're only using internal like what is it, like lingo and stuff.
Is that the one where he's eating the cereal?
Yeah.
Oh god, yeah. I hated that. Just because the milk on his chin. He had a drop of milk on his chin right there from the first bite he took, and he continued doing the scene, talking, eating more cereal, and then he gets another drip right here, and it's just there the rest of the scene. It's like, come on, dude, you're a person.
No, they're not.
Feel that. He didn't have a beard. He was clean shaved, so he would feel that.
Absolutely. Yeah, it just I detested everything about that movie. I also hate how they were going for the whole Joan of Arc thing. It's like,
Yeah.
okay. And I noticed right off the bat with the girl's haircut, and then they said her name was Joan. Like, okay, we're going for the Mila Jovovich style Joan of Arc.
Yeah, her name is Joan Doe, and I was like, really?
Yeah.
Really? That's your actual last name is Doe?
Yep. Joan Doe. Like Jane Doe, you know? No, I don't know. I think it was a detestable, boring, right-wing slogfest that thought it was way better than it was, and it came off as pretentious and stupid at the same time. But what about you?
My favorite thing about it was in the credits, they're instead of doing like credits where it's just like things going and music and a black background or something like that, they had pictures popping up that would stay there for a few frames. And the second one they show is like some deer in a field, but we're kind of behind a deer with its tail up. So we're just in it, like the camera's kind of zooming in a little bit at its butthole. And I was like, why are we doing this right now?
Because that's the whole movie.
Yeah. But I mean, the story was, I was waiting for more to happen. Like I said, I wanted some action there. Something we hear about what she did. She blew up a building, killed some people. And for some reason, some lady's hands got blown off, but she was fine outside of that. And then she died because she bled out while she was kneeling there trying to help the others with her hands blown off. I was confused by that whole thing.
She died because she was crying. That's what the guy said.
Yeah.
She cried until she died.
Yep. Well, tears are lifeblood.
Well, yeah. God.
But it's not a movie I recommend to people who get motion sickness, because there is a couple scenes, at least one, where she's in her cell and she's like, it's not a padded cell, but she's like kind of running into the walls and like screaming the F word over and over and over and saying she'll kill people, but she's also a prophet of God, which was just mind blowing. It was
checks out.
Quite insane. Yeah, but the camera is spinning around the room with her. And like, I'm getting dizzy just watching this go over and over and over. She went around the room like 6 or 7 times, and the camera's like shaky while it's doing it.
That was
terrible. Yeah, if you get motion sickness from like playing video games or something like that, definitely don't watch this movie. Well, just don't watch this movie.
Just don't. It's not even worth watching to crap all over. It was honestly, after watching the movie, like even while watching the movie, I was angry. Like, I was angry that I had to continue watching the movie for this show. It was, and no matter how bad every other movie is that we've watched, I never felt that.
All right, so let's move on to something entertaining before we close up for the day. Let us, I got to share my screen. Present, share screen, whole screen. Share.
It's up.
Work. Boom.
Oh, yeah.
SCP-3262. This one is very interesting. I pulled it up before we started, and I read just this part right here. And I was like, okay, we got something cool here.
Yeah.
But so this SPC is stored at Site 17 in a standard containment locker, so it's nothing special. But it is a standard issue kitchen knife. The blade is made of metallic substance of unknown composition, while the grip is made of ordinary white plastic. The blade and handle are fused together and cannot be detached despite being composed of different materials. So the first anomalous effect manifests when it is used to cut food. No matter what type of food the item is used to cut, it will always make a perfectly clean cut.
Oh?
From what has been observed, no matter how much the knife is used, the blade will never go dull.
Okay.
The separated piece of food and the item would become subject to the second anomalous effect. Approximately 15 seconds after separation, the piece would begin to be transfigured, its shape and form altered to take the anthropomorphic traits of a miniature infant and become animate.
Oh, God. So it turns into a baby?
Yeah. Yep. This includes the plump physique and even the display of behavior corresponding with those of infant or children.
Nope. Throw that thing out, dude.
Yep.
The baby and the knife.
That is an insane one. And it's just kept in a regular locker. It's okay.
Well, I mean, if you don't cut anything with it, it's not really like... Now, what if you cut a person with it?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering too. Because I mean, they tried it on food, but yeah, let's give this to like Michael Myers and see what happens.
That is creepy though, dude. Like so like if and let me know if I'm misunderstanding this, but it sounds like I have a steak and I have this knife and I cut a chunk off of the steak. The chunk that I cut off will then morph into a miniature baby, but made out of steak.
Yep, after 15 seconds.
But it'll still look like steak. It's just steak in the shape of a baby, and it starts crying and acting like a little baby.
Yep.
That's weird, dude. Why? What caused this?
Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, that was the interesting one I decided to show everybody today.
That's a good one. Gwen asks,
yeah, so would you still eat it?
Yeah. If okay, so this is an interesting question. Would I still eat it if it is actually like a baby, like a meat baby? I don't know why we're here, but if it is actually a meat baby, okay, no, I would not eat it. If it has no thoughts of its own and it's just like mimicking the shape and sounds of a baby, then yeah, I'd still eat it.
Well, let's talk about Harry Potter. What's that? The mandrake or whatever?
Yeah.
Would you eat one of those?
Probably, yeah. They don't look like babies, so
It's just screaming and crying like a baby, but it doesn't look like one.
Yeah, I'd probably still eat it. I mean, if it tastes good. I don't. Would you eat it?
I mean, probably not. I don't like when my steaks moo at me or anything. Kind of scares me.
Oh no, I like it when they moo.
I mean, I like it bloody, like fresh off the cow, but I like the cow to be dead.
Well, just you bite the cow.
Yeah, like frog legs. I can't do it. Like watching them be cooked and watching them jump around and stuff. No, I'm good.
Yeah,
I am good.
Yeah, I don't care how good that tastes. I can't do that.
Yeah.
So maybe I wouldn't eat the baby steak. I don't know.
All right. We should wrap up, but there's something I've been meaning to say for the past couple of weeks, and I just keep forgetting. And it just finally hit me again. So there was a bit of a change. I'm sure people have noticed this over the past several weeks. BC he's still a member if he wants to show up at any time, but he's got other responsibilities, so he really can't join us anymore. Again, he's welcome anytime he wants to, but yeah, so we're not cutting him out of everything, but yeah, we're just going to kind of go forward with just the two of us. So if anybody's wondering where BC's been, like, unfortunately he had to go other directions, and it's kind of sad, but I'm happy for him. He's doing something he's always wanted to do, so it's good for him.
Yeah, and he's an open guest.
Yeah.
Effectively. So.
Yep. But yeah, so we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. But so this week we have some videos coming up. Hawk told me about what his video was, and I have a 10-second memory, so that's already gone.
List of CRPGs.
Yeah, there we go. Games. Because my personal, like, one of my favorite games of all time is going to be on that list, and I'm very happy about it.
It had to be.
Yeah, it has to be. I mean, I would go bird hunting if it wasn't.
Yeah, that's why I put it on
there. And then on Thursday, we have a oh, sorry, didn't mean to do that. We have a serious video coming up. I decided to do something not joking around while I'm recording. Doing one that's about hate and how there's just so much hate in society lately. And I'm mainly focusing on towards IPs like video games or movies. If you're a fan of something and people who aren't a fan of it, they just come in and hate on it. I see a lot with like, for example, Pokemon games. I see a lot of hate constantly when a new game's coming out, even though it's the biggest IP ever. People do love it, but those who don't come in and just start bashing on it. They'll never play them, but they're just going to hate on them. And that's kind of what I'm addressing there. So that's something to look forward to. That's one that I take pride in that I did. Yeah, and I show some IPs in it, like some video games in it that are hated on. So yeah. definitely check those out Monday and Thursday.
That one's going to be good.
And yeah, besides that, we will see you guys next week.
Yeah.
All right. Take care.
See you.